Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend our webinar today. My name is Maureen. I'm with Lifeboat Distribution. You will find after this webinar why DataCore is the #1 leader in storage virtualization. Personally, I find that the resellers that are selling, that I've been working with that sell VMware to their customers find that DataCore is a great fit into their environment because it is built on the same concept, which is virtualization format. During the webinar, if you have any questions, we ask that you list them via the chat area listed on the site here, and we will answer the questions at the end. Also, we have listed here on our webinar the call to action. You can go to datacore.com's website where you can find for all our partners. We ask that you go, there's a tab there that's listed under partners where you will find all the information that we talk about today on the webinar. It's a fantastic site. It will list all their case studies. There's PDFs, there's demos there. So it's a great source of information for all the partners. So we do encourage you to visit their website. And at this time, I would like to pass the control over to Betty Grant from DataCore. Betty?
Hi, Maureen. How are you?
Very good, Betty. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. First of all, let me thank all of you that are in attendance today by this webinar. I do appreciate you taking the time to join DataCore. Tim Warden is also on the phone. He is our Director of Systems Engineer. And
hello, everyone.
Thank you, Tim. He will be able to answer any questions that you have at the end after the presentation. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today, and I will keep this brief, about taking your virtualization practice to the third dimension. In order to do that, we need to get into the right frame of mind. Ask yourself 2 questions. Is your virtualization practice only 2-dimensional? Meaning, do you virtualize your desktops and servers? And then you ask yourself, how does that put you at a competitive disadvantage? Maybe I should be more direct. If you are not virtualizing your customer storage, who is? It's that critical aspect of all virtualization projects that DataCore can immediately help you with. Think of us as your ticket to the third dimension. Now, please don't get me wrong. Surely each one of your customers have their favorite disk manufacturers. Many of their products will undoubtedly include some device-specific virtualization. But I want to draw your attention to the bigger opportunity. Virtualizing across all makes and models of storage device in a manner that is device independent and puts to use the equipment already in place. In other software and services that you learn once and propose in every one of your virtualization projects. Sounds intriguing? Well then, let's see how we can help you win deals, make money, and retain your clients. Consider the reasons driving IT to virtualize their servers and hopefully their desktops. 4 come to mind: cost savings, flexibility, productivity, and risk mitigation. Now apply these to storage. After all, it's the same sales pitch. Yet the correlation isn't superficial, but outright necessary. And I'll show you why. The health and performance of virtual servers and virtual desktops is completely dependent on the storage system that they share. Without shared disks, you can't migrate virtual machines. failover workloads, or startup sessions on a completely different desktop. Any slowdowns or interruptions in accessing disks ripple across the entire virtual infrastructure, affecting far more applications and users than when they were on an isolated physical machine with their private drive. Knowing this naturally leads you to configure bulletproof centralized storage and a long list of special precautions to keep everything up and running. That's when things get a little bit more complicated and a lot scarier. More often than not, it's the storage overhaul that creates technical and financial problems in virtualization projects. Am I right? Here's what we're repeatedly hearing before partners join our team. The retrofit needed to achieve a well-performing, highly available shared SAN is disproportionately expensive, so the project stalls. Or business continuity and or performance aspects were compromised to meet a price point, only to lose the customer after suffering major slowdowns and application outages. My message to you today is, if you don't virtualize their storage from the outset, someone else will. And by using DataCore to offer a well-differentiated and reusable software solution from client to client, the more repeatable your successes will be. A live example helps illustrate this point. This municipal police station set aside a reasonable amount of money to virtualize a mixed group of 40 application servers. They were shocked to hear that the storage-related portion of the bid chewed up most of their budget. Needless to say, such glaring discrepancy brings virtualization deals to a screeching halt. Instead of ripping out and replacing all the disks and trying different workarounds to keep the SAN from becoming a single point of failure, the competing VAR selected DataCore software to pool the client's existing assets into a highly available shared storage configuration. That helped to keep costs well within the funding limit, yet improved on the more expensive proposal by automatically mirroring the data to a co-location 10 miles away. There we go. And then after completing phase one, the solution provider was invited back to replicate critical volume to a distant disaster recovery site using the same DataCore software. Since then, the new storage hardware has been added, driving the sale of additional DataCore capacity licenses. It's this continual flow of high-margin, professional service, license revenue, and maintenance renewal that makes storage virtualization engagement particularly appealing to solutions providers like you. You can get a better technical feel for the solution in the next few diagrams, starting with the most common configurations, which are synchronously mirrored across a pair of dedicated Windows servers for redundancy. Thousands of these installations are in use around the globe, spanning clients large and small. Enterprise scenarios sometimes grow to 5 or 6 nodes. Note how the software leverages all the disk resources at your client's disposal, incorporating both direct attached and SAN-capable storage in the physical pool. those in place today and the ones that will replace them in the future. Caching disk operations improve application performance while offloading the back-end devices. Much like web caches accelerate internet requests from multiple clients. But to the host, the virtual disk looks like an ideal, well-behaved drive. Now here's how you prevent storage-related downtime, even when facility problems conspire to take down applications. Just place the nodes and their corresponding storage in separate rooms, ideally in different buildings on the other side of the city. Access to the shared virtual disk continues uninterrupted despite losing one-half of the infrastructure to a planned or unplanned outage. No special coding or scripting needed. This is completely automatic, as is the return to normal operation when the resources come back up again. For clients needing extra safeguard outside the city, you asynchronously replicate the most critical virtual disk to a DataCore node at their disaster recovery site. And yes, you can use completely different storage and servers at either end, just as with all the features. Envision how nicely storage virtualization mitigates risk for the virtual servers and desktops. In smaller configurations and proof of concept exercises, you can do without external storage altogether. The software runs on the same physical machines as the workload, isolated from the virtual machines by the hypervisor. Should they outgrow it, just move the license to dedicated nodes. They are fully portable. The short introduction gives us only time to touch on a few of the features. You can learn more about the entire comprehensive offering in our technical webinars. Again, the integrated functions operate across unlike and mutually incompatible devices. Having the same rich set of advanced virtualization services spans model and price point boundaries, leads to the highest availability and best use of resources at the most favorable cost. More importantly, it means not having to relearn software or throw it away as new hardware replaces older gear, or you move from one account to another. And this slide that you see on the screen just outlines a few of the features that you get. And Tim, if you have questions about those, Tim will be able to answer those in detail after I complete this presentation. Earlier I spoke of the third dimension to virtualization. Remember I said I'm your ticket. For some of you, this diagram will make our relevance crystal clear. You know the role that VMware, Microsoft, and Citrix play at the top. Their innovations in desktop virtualization give users a common desktop experience across a variety of desktop devices, from full PCs to thin clients. Their server virtualization software enables workloads to migrate, load balance, and fail over between dissimilar physical servers without being concerned with each platform's unique hardware characteristics. DataCore software virtualized storage devices in a similar fashion, overcoming incompatibilities among the different generations, models, and manufacturers of this equipment to maximize their combined value and utilization. While these physical devices will come and go, the stable virtualization software infrastructure remains in place. With our software, you provision, share, reconfigure, migrate, replicate, expand, and upgrade storage without slowdown or downtime. This effectively eliminates storage-related disruptions, performance bottlenecks, and funding roadblocks that jeopardize virtualization projects. You need not look any further than your active list of virtualization prospects to recognize a candidate for DataCore software. Whether you're pursuing a small server consolidation job or a major VDI initiative, we are a perfect fit. And the same approach works with physical machines as well. Now, I hope you have a good sense for the decisive competitive advantage that DataCore brings. Bottom line, DataCore removes storage-related barriers that can stall virtualization deals. That's just one of the many reasons to incorporate our software into your portfolio. With the success of virtualization projects hinging on so much storage, DataCore gives you the software to architect the most viable, profitable, and fully three-dimensional solutions. The servers, the desktops, and storage devices you have to work with will vary from account to account, but your signature design, principles, and solution blueprints suddenly become repeatable. We encourage you to get started by following the next steps outlined here. Learn more about the pricing and the economics of DataCore storage virtualization sales. Look through the sales and marketing resources for new resellers. And quote DataCore software on your next virtualization project. With having said that, I would now like to turn the floor over to Mr. Tim Warden, if he wants to have anything to say at this time.
Thank you, Betty. We did receive a couple of questions, and I will answer, well, we have a question here, and I'll answer that in a bit, but I just would like to elaborate a little bit on what Betty has said. In light of your virtualization practice, I'm going to presume that most of you on this call have indeed a virtualization practice, either of servers and likely desktops as well, and you haven't yet started virtualizing storage. I want you to think about the data centers that you've walked into, that you've sold into. The vast majority of them will have a certain amount of redundancy that is just taken for granted. They've always done it that way. For instance, their LAN. The LAN is the backbone of the data center. So we've always learned best practices. You should have redundant switches. You should have redundant cabling, because if a switch fails, basically everything comes to a screeching halt. Now, granted, those switches are also built to be highly available. They come with redundant power supplies, but yet the best practice suggests you really should have redundant switches. Same goes for your servers. If there was a server, back in the day, if there was a server that was particularly critical to your business, to your operation, what did you do with it? You put it in a cluster. That's just understood. And if you look today with server virtualization, it's a no-brainer. Everybody does clustering. With VMware, with Zen, Citrix Zen Server, and the like. And then we take a look at the storage. Back in the day, back when fiber channel SANs were first introduced, everybody took it for granted as well that that storage array, that it's highly available. the storage manufacturers, the vendors. They told you, well, it's got dual controllers, we use RAID for the disk, it's got dual power supplies, dual redundant cooling, redundant battery backup. What could possibly go wrong? But on the other hand, the fabric, those switches, those Brocade switches, those QLogic switches, well, those are single points of failure. I know they're highly available. They have redundant power supplies and the like, but you know, it's just like your LAN. You need to have two of them, and you need to have redundant cables so that if one of them fails, you don't bring the whole data center to a stop. So basically, if you think back on one of those slides that Betty was showing you earlier, you've got a data center, the typical data center that is completely redundant for everything except the very core of the data center, and that's the storage. Not a good idea. You've basically built your pyramid upside down. You're sitting on this single point of failure called the storage array. No matter how highly available they say it is, things can always go wrong. So really the approach you ought to be taking, I believe, I mean, if I'm building a data center, I want it to be redundant from top to bottom, particularly the bottom, the foundation. I want to make sure that that is the thing that's the most highly reliable, that I actually have two copies of that data. And that is precisely what we can do. That is precisely, that is one of the most strongest points that we can make about what DataCore does. We allow you to do active-active synchronous mirroring to two copies of the data that can be physically separated up to a certain distance, say 100 kilometers. And we allow you to use the standard multipathing of those, you know, VMware and Microsoft and Linux servers that your customers are using. Very elegant solution. Now let me answer a question that came in from Paul Hawkins that's along those lines. He's asking, how fat does that pipe need to be between the two buildings? Well, Paul, the answer there is it depends. We have a lot of customers that have different needs in terms of controlling the latency between those two sites. Typically what you'll see is there's a minimum of a gigabit of performance, because let's face it, if you're offering gigabits iSCSI performance to the application servers from the storage, then you probably want to have the same the same minimum between the two servers. And Betty has put the diagram back up for us to look at here. So I would say that that's at a minimum. Is that an absolute requirement? No, we can get away with less than a gigabit. It'll certainly work. As you know, iSCSI is based upon IP, and the latency requirements are going to be dictated more by the servers, your VMware servers and the like. But typically that would be the minimum, would be a gigabit between the two sites, which really is not that uncommon these days. A lot of people, some of our customers I'm thinking of that I've done the installs, in some cases they actually have 10 gigabit fibers running between their two sites. So that's all perfectly reasonable. Of course, as the distance increases, as you push those two sites further and further away, obviously a certain amount of latency increases over the dark fiber as you've got switching involved, and the speeds tend to go down a little bit. But it's all perfectly doable, and we have thousands of cases of customers that are doing exactly this, either across a parking lot or across a campus or across a metropolitan area. Betty, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Tim. First, I want to say again, thank you to each of you. Do we have any other questions? If we do not, I will turn back over to our hostess, Maureen.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Tim. We listed up here on the presentation for the call to action. We would like the partners that are attending on the webinar today to visit the DataCore website, which is datacore.com, and on there again you'll find more information, product information, white sheets. There will be case studies. Also there will be the partner portal where you'll look underneath the partner section and it will list the information for you to look to register as a partner. You'll receive a welcome packet, and also for partners there's training classes available as well to become DCIE certified, to be able to do the installs for DataCore software. We host classes here at Lifeboat. Also, there's other facilities around the United States that are listed off DataCore's website as well for the training to become certified. And that information, your reps here that you work with at Lifeboat will be able to help you also with that and pricing. We're actually hosting a class here today at Lifeboat, so and it's a 3-day class. So definitely get in touch with your rep here at Lifeboat, be able to help assist you with that. They also will be able to help get you in touch with your local DataCore representative as well down the road and put you in touch with them. And also, Tim, I don't know, it looks like Paul just came across with another question here on the site. Paul's question is, he wants us to send him the links. Not a problem, Paul. We'll take care of that.
That's a good question. I'm glad.
Yes, the demos that they have on their website, I believe, Betty, right? The demo off your website is only like 5 minutes, right? It's a quick demo that you have listed there on your website.
Well, we have the guys can participate in guys or girls can participate in a live demo. Tim, would you speak to that, please?
Yes, every Monday we have a live demo where one of the systems engineers actually presents, shows a demo of the software, answers people's questions, and that is at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So 2 p.m. If you happen to be on the West Coast, that would be 11 o'clock a.m. your time. Central, I guess, Central and Mountain, it would be it'd be 1 or 12 noon. But 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, thank you for that, Tim. Also, I just wanted to also make mention to the resellers as well here on the phone with us today that DataCore's licensing, they have upgrades, so you lose nothing when purchasing a license and you're upgrading to the next, because obviously your customers are always looking to add storage to their environment. So they have upgrade where you will receive full credit for the licenses that you purchase, and then you're upgrading to the next level, which is fantastic. DataCore is a channel-friendly partner to work with, and they're excellent to support you in any way that you ever have with questions about with your customers or environment or technical questions. They're always there to help support you and your customers. We want to thank everyone for attending today our webinar and our presentation with DataCore. We thank you very much.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Tim.